top 10 quarterbacks heading into next season. Interesting situation here, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting video. We are going to rank the top 10 quarterbacks going into next season. Now, before we get to Colin's list, I have ranked the quarterbacks. Let's take a look at who I've got here. I'll go ahead and go right into it. Patrick Mahomes, number 1, obviously. Joe Burrow, number 2. I think Josh Allen's number 3. 3 and 4 are pretty close. I thought about Jalen Hurts being 3, but I've got Allen at 3 just because I think Allen, I hope I'm right with this, but I think Allen has a little bit more. He's got a little bit more to get there. Now, we could be seeing a peak Josh Allen. If this is peak Josh Allen and we start to see Allen slip a little bit, then I'm going to have Hurts ahead of him. But if Allen gets back, I'm assuming he's hurt. I'm assuming he was hurt this past year with his elbow. If he gets back to kind of the highest level of Josh Allen, then he's deserved of 3. Hurts at 4, Lamar at 5, Herbert at 6. And I thought about flipping Lamar and Herbert. Lamar and Hurts, what kind of got me there is that they are so dependent on their system. They're so dependent on that perfect system that allows them to run. It calls the right kind of routes. It's aggressive. But look, they're in the system, so I can't knock them for that, right? So they're 4 and 5. Herbert, he's kind of the opposite. I think Los Angeles is actually kind of hurting him. I think Brandon Staley and company are kind of hurting Justin Herbert. But tool-wise, physically, he's incredible. Justin Herbert, we've seen him at his peak, like the overtime game against the Raiders where he completed his last 17 passes and converted 11 fourth downs. When he's at that top, he's incredible. I mean, he is top of the line for sure. So I'm a big Justin Herbert guy. Justin Herbert I could see him. He's real close, I think, to really breaking out. Next is 7, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look, he's 2 years removed from being the MVP. I'm just going to have to believe that last season was an anomaly, and that's not him, okay? So maybe Father Time caught up to him. I don't know. But if we were doing this last year, Rodgers would probably be 3 going into this past season. So he has dropped, but I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Number 8, Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence took a huge step forward. I think he can take another step forward if he, kind of involves more of that running game and kind of figures himself out a little bit. This will be his first season having the same coach back to back, having Peterson again. So I think he does have a ceiling though. I think Trevor, his ceiling is probably Josh Allen. His ceiling is this past season of Josh Allen, which is high, which is a really high ceiling, no doubt about it. But I don't think Trevor has the physical tools to get much deeper than that. But he could be that kind of gamer, winner, run when you have to, good enough with his arm. So I think you can win with Trevor Lawrence. 9 is Tua. I think Tua is great. I love Tua. A lot of people have trouble with Tua because he's left-handed. He's kind of smaller, but guy throws a beautiful ball. He certainly has issues when it comes to throwing the ball deep, but not everyone has to do that, right? He's in a good system too. I believe in his system. I believe in his wide receivers. I like Tua a lot. He's very safe with the ball. He's very, very efficient with the ball. Barring his concussion system or issues, barring any more concussions, I think Tua can take a huge step forward next year. Kirk Cousins, I'm not the biggest Kirk Cousins fan, but I can't ignore what he's done on the field. Can you win with Kirk Cousins? To a certain extent, you could probably win regular season games, specifically in that noon time slot, Kirk Cousins' favorite time slot. Can you win a Super Bowl with him? No. Can you win the NFC with him? Probably not. Could you get into the NFC title game? Maybe. Cousins has been efficient. He's gotten better. He's, in his own little bubble, he's good. But his ceiling, I think, would probably be 8. He's such a safe, kind of specific player that he's not going to be worse than 10, but he's not going to be worse than or better than 8.
Based on age, momentum, health, head coach, who are the 10 best quarterbacks going into next year?
All right, now I was not factoring in age at all. So if he's putting a little bit of like, if he's giving bonus points for, length of their career left and all that stuff, I wasn't doing that.
We count your coordinator. We count your head coach. We count your health, your current momentum. Here we go, 1 through 10. Number 1 is obvious. It's Patrick Mahomes. Let's not waste any time.
I think 1 and 2 are you cannot argue 1 and 2. I think 1 is Mahomes, 2 is Burrow. I think that's very obvious. If Burrow was if he was on the Saints, I think the Saints would be in the NFC title game. Like, he is a game-changing, franchise-changing quarterback. Physically incredibly gifted, can make every throw on the field, sneaky athletic, can run around. I don't think there's anyone in the world that would say Patrick Mahomes isn't 1 and Burrow isn't 2.
The most passing yards and touchdown passes in a 5-season span in league history. No reason to debate it. He was virtually perfect in the second half. Yes, he's got Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, but this was a bit of a makeshift receiving.
Let me say this about the Chiefs. I was talking about this recently. Patrick Mahomes is on that LeBron level where he's so good that people aren't even really talking about his supporting cast. Yes, he has Travis Kelce. Look at his receivers. Look at who he just won the Super Bowl with. This might be, I'd have to go back and look at those Tom Brady Patriot wide receiver cores. This might be the worst, wide receiver group to ever win the Super Bowl, or at least in the last 10 years. I mean, these are some nobodies. Juju Smith-Schuster is the best of the bunch. You got Juju, MVS, McCall Hardman, who didn't even play. It's really crazy what he did. It's really crazy to look at that skill group. And you can even throw in Pacheco. I think Pacheco is the man. I think Pacheco is a diamond in the rough. But he was what round was he drafted in? I mean, Patrick Mahomes, to lose Tyreek Hill and then to do this, whew. I mean, look, it's crazy what Mahomes did with this group.
Core, and his only incompletion in the second half was a throwaway out of the end zone. He was never sacked. That, by the way, was one of his great completions. Patrick.
Imagine if Mahomes had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Imagine if he had Chris Olave. Imagine if he had A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. If they go get Patrick Mahomes some skill position help, whoo.
Mahomes an easy number 1. Number 2, Joe Burrow. I thought he eclipsed a couple of young quarterbacks this year. Highest completion percentage in league history. The only quarterback in the league that I think situationally, big third down, fourth down, can play in Mahomes' sphere. And
I agree with that. If it's a 2-minute drive, I think you're fine with Mahomes or Burrow. I mean, Burrow is leaps and Burrow is closer to Mahomes than whoever in third is closer to Mahomes. Burrow. I think there's a big difference between Burrow and Josh Allen, for sure. And he's getting better and better, and it's hard for me to imagine him being bad. I've seen Josh Allen be bad. I don't know if Burrow can do it. I think they call him Joe Cool for a reason.
Reached the AFC Championship in each of his 2 healthy seasons. Burrow is here for the long term. He's 2. Yeah. I'm going to move Trevor Lawrence up to 3. He gets now Calvin.
Whoa. This is crazy. This is crazy. To have Trevor Lawrence over Josh Allen, to have Trevor Lawrence over Jalen Hurts, to have Trevor Lawrence over Lamar Jackson is wild. I could see, oh my God, let me go back and look at my list. I could hear the argument with the way Colin's doing it, with momentum and coordinators and head coaches, whatever. I could see moving him over Aaron Rodgers because Rodgers is old. Rodgers may not play past this season. He might not even play this season. He may retire. Rodgers doesn't even have a team. The Packers apparently don't want him, so I could see if you're looking at it that way. I was looking at it kind of just raw talent, and I could see the same with Herbert. If you don't like Brandon Staley, if you don't like their new offensive coordinator, if you don't like their organization, I could see that too. Lamar, same thing. If Lamar doesn't have a team right now, he could be in Atlanta, he could be in Baltimore. Who the hell knows? So if you're looking at it like that, okay. Trevor Lawrence is in a very stable situation. He's got good skill players around him. He's got a great coaching staff. He seems to be getting better, right? Now, where I don't understand it would be Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts just had arguably an MVP season. Great head coach, great system, great skill position players around him. You would only assume Hurts is going to get better. So I'm not sure why you would bump him up over Hurts' situation. And then Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen was the front runner for the MVP before this year. The Bills were the runaway favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. We know how it played out, but I mean, I don't see where. I just don't see where you could, like, all of how Colin is grading this. I don't see how you can bump Lawrence over Hurts and Allen, which I guess we will hear about right now.
Ridley, a second year in Doug Peterson's system, 7-2 over his last 9 games with a passer rating at 105. There were arguments, if you just take away that first half in the Chargers playoff win where he was dreadful, he was as good as anybody not named Mahomes or Burrow in the last 7 or 8 games of the season. I think with Ridley another year in the system, he's number 3.
I mean, pretty weak argument, to be honest. I mean, I wish he would have gave me a little bit more because, you know, he gave the record, but like Jalen Hurts was what, undefeated in that stretch? I mean, I know Hurts got kind of banged up, but went to the Super Bowl, dominated all those teams, put up gaudy numbers in the Super Bowl, arguably could have been the Super Bowl MVP in a loss. It's hard to have better momentum than that. I mean, I don't know. I don't see the Trevor Lawrence. I just don't see it. Like, I understand what he's saying. Another year in the system, good skill position players, sure. But you could say the exact same thing for Josh Allen. You could say the exact same thing for Jalen Hurts. I don't know. I don't know about that one, Colin.
I think Kellen Moore's a huge hire for the Chargers. Justin Herbert moves up to 4.
All right, so Colin likes Herbert. I like Herbert. What's there not to like? Kellen Moore is questionable, but I wonder how much Kellen Moore was held back because of Big Mike McCarthy. We'll see. We're going to find out. A lot of people in the know are down on Kellen Moore as a coordinator. I'm kind of on the fence about him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt this season. I love Herbert. I love him. I don't think in good faith can you put him over Hurts, Allen, just because of what they've done. Those two are my big stop gaps. Like these, you're going to hear this a lot, right? So I think these 4 are pretty much set. I mean, I understand like the Josh Allen thing this year, like they disappointed. You know, the Bills did disappoint, but I don't know if if he disappointed to the point to where you can drop him to like 6. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 is pretty much set in stone. If you had Hurts at 3, Allen at 4, I could listen to that. If you had, you know, I could even understand if someone was like a big Josh Allen guy and they had Allen at 2, Burrow at 3, barely. I could understand that. I could at least listen to the conversation. I don't know if I can listen to anybody besides Lamar Jackson. I mean, he was the MVP at one point. I don't know if I can listen to any of like 6 through 10. I don't see them being in the top 4. Let me know in the comments below what you think. This is a big sticking point. I might be wrong on this. I doubt I am. But do you think that any of these like 5 players, you know, the Herbert, Rodgers, Lawrence, Tua, like that group right there, do you think any of them are really in that top 3, top 4 quarterbacks? Let me know in the comments below what your 10 would be. I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to give Colin the benefit of the doubt here. I'm trying to understand what he's saying, but I just don't know if I can do it. I don't think it lines up. I don't understand his logic here.
By the way, here's a stat you may pay attention to. Do you know he has the most passing yards and touchdown passes in 3 years, the first 3 years in the league? More than Mahomes. More than any player in league history. They just can't get the head coaching perfect yet. The O-line was bad early. I think Kellen Moore is the coordinator that gets the absolute best out of Justin Herbert.
We'll see.
5, Josh Allen. He regressed. There's too many mistakes. Now,
okay, so he did regress, but he was injured. You got to factor that in. We don't know how bad his elbow was, all that stuff. His actual skill set is almost second to none because he runs. He can be just as good of a runner as Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts. And he can be just as good of a thrower as Justin Herbert. Their arm talent-wise, all that stuff, similar. Trevor Lawrence cannot do that. Trevor Lawrence physically cannot do what Justin Herbert and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, what they can do. Lawrence is more of like, he's kind of a raw blend of all these guys. He can run, but not as good as them. He can pass, but not as good as them. But he's got something. You know, he's got, I don't know what it is. He's got something. But it's just not as polished and not as good as those guys. And I don't know if it'll ever be as good or as polished. You know, he was like that in college. He could sling it, but it was an ugly kind of sling it. You know what I mean? Herbert and Allen, that's not the case, right? So that's why I'm having trouble putting Lawrence at 3, because I just don't see Lawrence's ceiling being Josh Allen, or his arm talent ceiling being Justin Herbert, or his running ceiling being Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson, right? Allen, if you take away the injury, he can get back to what he was doing last year and not like 2 years ago. Allen can do it. We've seen Allen do it. So there's no point in me thinking he can't get there again. Now, if you believe he's really injured and he'll never recover from it, like a Cam Newton situation, okay, sure. But that's a big leap.
Again, he's got a howitzer. He and Mahomes have 35-plus touchdown passes in each of the last 3 seasons. So he can go uptown and give you the greatness of Mahomes, but he simply isn't as good situationally.
No doubt about that. Situationally, Allen has left a lot to be desired. Big stake games, playoff games, stuff like that. He's not afraid to turn the ball over. The Bills as a whole are way too dependent on Josh Allen. You know, they go out there, they roll the ball out there, and they say, Josh, go win it. And he's got to make all kind of stuff happen. Is that coaching? Is that Allen? Who? You know, what's the situation there? I don't know. We've said that all year long, where they do get way too dependent on Allen, and they need to have more of a system. They need to let Allen run the system versus let Allen be the system.
I don't think he's getting the coaching. He doesn't have the offensive line support, and he pulled back this year. Number 6. And
this will be the year where Sean McDermott gets looked at. You know, up until right now, Sean McDermott was believed to be like one of the best coaches in the NFL, and he's gotten consistently out-coached in every big game. So this is the year now where it's like, wait a minute, is the problem with the Bills the coaching staff? Is the problem with the Bills their system? And I think that's a very fair question right now.
Now it gets close. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts because I think he's a little bigger than you think. He's become a better passer. I thought he was arguably, and this is with Mahomes, the best player in the Super Bowl. I mean,
that's what I just said. He was he was the MVP. I mean, Mahomes was amazing, but I think there was a lot of other stuff that happened. There was a scoop and score. There was the Kadarius Toney punt return. The Chiefs had a lot of other stuff happen. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts dragged that offense. He was unbelievable. And that's, I kind of doubted Jalen Hurts in that situation, but he was unreal. That's where I think Colin's got me confused is if you're talking about the potential, Jalen Hurts another year in that system, another year as the man, because up into this season, people were still unsure about Jalen Hurts. People were still like, yeah, he may be the guy, but we're not sure. Right now, he's the king of Philadelphia. So another year like that, another year of building with Jalen Hurts, all the confidence in the world. As far as momentum and potential, no one on this list, besides Patrick Mahomes, has the momentum that Jalen Hurts does.
He was unbelievable with his legs. I think Mahomes is better, obviously, and by a gap. But I think Jalen Hurts, 375 yards. His defense, special teams, and run game let him down, and he went to the last series against Patrick Mahomes.
Now, what you could say momentum-wise is that he's losing his coordinators. You could say, well, yeah, he's got some momentum, but he's losing his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator. So his system could be mixed up a little bit, but I put a lot more stock into the head coach being there than, Josh Gannon or Shane Steichen.
That's pretty good. Jalen Hurts 6. This is where it gets real tight. I'll go Stafford. Now, remember, Stafford.
Wow. I couldn't be more down on Matt Stafford. If you're factoring in age, future, potential, momentum, he has zero momentum. His team is ass. His coach almost retired. Team is terrible. Oh, and he's injured. Oh, and there's rumors that Matt Stafford might retire. I don't think he should be on the list, obviously. Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or Matt Stafford? Would you rather have Lamar Jackson or Matt Stafford? Him being at 7 is absolutely absurd. Him being at 10 is absurd. I mean, would you rather Tua or Matt Stafford? Aaron Rodgers or Matt Stafford? Kirk Cousins or Matt Stafford? Lamar Jackson or Matt Stafford? This is nuts. I would rather Justin Fields than Matt Stafford. I would rather Jared Goff than Matt Stafford. I would rather Russell Wilson than Matt Stafford. I'm trying to look at the rest of this list. I might prefer Dak Prescott over Matt Stafford. I'd rather Mac Jones over Matt Stafford. He should not be on the list.
They had 98 games missed due to injury on this roster, most in the league. The team fell apart.
He was one of them.
They had 13 different offensive lines, most in the league. This guy won a Super Bowl a year ago and outdueled Joe Burrow in it. Stafford's really good. He's very expensive. There's stories the Rams are getting frustrated. They'd like to redo his contract, and he was beat up this year, but he's a world-class arm talent.
This just makes no sense. Like, you could say all of that, but better with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is 2 years removed from an MVP. Aaron Rodgers has better arm talent than Matt Stafford. Aaron Rodgers isn't hurt right now. I don't want to throw this kind of stuff out there, but this is, to me, this screams like Cowherd has a relationship with Matt Stafford. This screams that he either has a relationship with his agent or has a relationship with Stafford or someone else. There is no reason Matt Stafford should be on this list.
Very good in big games, home, away, lead, trailing.
Very good in big games. Before the year he won the Super Bowl, I don't think he won a playoff game. What is his playoff record? I don't think. What an insane thing to say. Very good in big games.
You get the same guy usually. I would put Aaron Rodgers 8. He had a bad year by Aaron standards, 91 passer rating. Some of it's young receivers, but he's not committed in the offseason. I also think Aaron has slowly, and we saw this pre-Jordan Love, I just don't think he's good enough now to not totally commit year-round, and he's not. Their O-line was excellent. Aaron Jones, excellent. Good enough at tight end. Christian Watson emerged. Aaron needs to be better. You got to commit to the offseason because Burrow, Mahomes.
The Rodgers thing, I could understand the Rodgers thing if you believe that, like, he physically is just kind of not there. If you feel like, because it happens. Once players start to break down, people get older. So if you believe that Rodgers has hit that level and he's just going to progressively get worse, I can understand that.
Herbert, Lawrence, Allen, Jalen Hurts are. He's at 8. Number 9, Lamar Jackson. Listen.
This is a big drop for Lamar. I'm interested to hear what the reasoning is here. I'm assuming if you ask 32 teams in the NFL if they would rather have Lamar Jackson or Matt Stafford moving forward, all 32 would say Lamar.
I'm concerned too, but he wins 75% of his starts. He has the second highest win percentage among all active quarterbacks behind only Patrick Mahomes. He's dynamic. He's a game changer. He is one of the hardest guys in the league to prepare for, but he hasn't been great in the playoffs. I worry about his health. But to deny he's not a top 10 quarterback, I'm sorry. You can't win 74% of your games in this league in that division and tell me you're not a top 10 quarterback.
I'm kind of shocked. Like, I agree with what he's saying. I'm kind of shocked that he didn't put him higher. I mean, I don't. He's not giving me a lot here of like reasoning, but I don't know why you would put Lamar under Stafford.
And number 10, it's weird, but Jared Goff was outstanding down.
Yeah, Goff was awesome. I almost put Goff in there instead of Cousins. I gave Cousins the benefit of the doubt because Goff plays in a specific offense. Like, I know who Goff is. I think Cousins can win at different places. Like, if you put Cousins on the Browns, I think Cousins would give you pretty much the exact same thing. If you put Goff on the wrong team, he's going to fall apart. Goff needs a very specific system. Goff needs to be safe. Goff needs, he's limited. He was great last year, but he is limited. So I don't have a problem with this, but I think this is a bit much.
On the stretch, he was unbelievable. 15 touchdowns and no picks in the last 2.5 months. Ben Johnson returns. Listen, you could say, well, he's got a good O-line. Yeah, he does. I'm counting that. Great OC, great O-line, 2 capable running backs. I thought he had a great year. Number 4 in total offense.
He did. I like Jared Goff a lot. Everyone knows that. All right, that's a list, guys. That's the 10. The big sticking point to me, let me pull up this whole list. The big sticking point to me is Stafford. Stafford and Lawrence. Those are the 2 ones where I'm just like, I can't get there. I can't get there. I can't get with Lawrence at 3, and I can't get with Stafford on the list at all. So let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What is your top 10? Where did Colin get it right? Where did I get it wrong? Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you on the next one.